we having tech problems again?
There we go.
There we are. Right, we can now see ourselves as well.
Oh god, that looks like a really bad quality. I'm not sure if that's just on the tablet.
Yeah, it's possibly just the tablet buffering. It looks a little bit slow as well. Hi, folks. We are a few minutes early. Don't worry, it's not your watches. It is us. We figured we'd come on 5 minutes early. Just make sure that the sound and everything is functioning as it should be. Are you functioning as you should be, IB?
I think my heart rate's still 120 beats per minute.
We were just saying off camera, actually, more nervous this time than last time. Because, I don't know, last time we had an excuse for things going wrong.
Oh, it's the first time. This is like, it's your second time. If you mess it up, you might as well give up.
Whereas now we're seasoned pros at this. We've been around the game. So just like it did last time, the chat on the tablet isn't updating yet. So if anyone's saying anything so far, we can't see it. Just like last time, you early birds, if you could give us a bit of a heads up on the sound quality, that'd be great. We know we had a few problems after your phone died last time. We're just waiting for this tablet to kind of catch up with the rest of the world. It's pretty old. It's a bit like me.
Very old.
And by about 8 o'clock, we should be ready to crack on.
Still 4 minutes, 3 minutes?
Yeah, plenty of time left. We're just going to make sure that all this is working as it should be.
Okay.
There we go.
Harry,
we've got a few comments.
Hello, guys. Hello, Harry. I just started as in hi and then hello. Just
you combine the two words. You're something.
Ethan Rush says hi.
Hi,
Scott
Ethan.
Bailey says hi there. How are you doing? Brendan Shaw says hi.
There's some really familiar names on there.
Nick Trotman. You can always drop off like last time. This time we both have a drink ready at hand. Brendan is saying the sound is good.
Thanks, Brendan. Appreciates it.
Ethan is saying
Ethan's
the sound is good. Julie,
hi,
hello.
Julie. How you doing?
She also says the sound is good.
So we're just going to take this opportunity just for 2 or 3 minutes, just to A, let people kind of filter in, and B, to make sure that everything is functioning properly, including us.
Yep, which we're not at the moment. Jack Pearson says hi.
Hi, Jack. Thank you very much. Welcome to the chat.
Oh God, my heart is still going.
Well, I took a leaf out of IB's book this time. I'll treat myself to a little drink. So, cheers.
Okay.
It's not a problem if you enjoy it.
My sister says hello, Labas.
Labas.
I think her and my little nephew Vakaris is watching together. Brendan Choi is just checking if we press the battery button. Yes, and this time we turned the power pack around so we could see that the lights are on.
We can actually see that it's functioning now. It's nice to know that people are looking out for us. If anything, these guys know us a bit too well by now.
Yeah. This time could be like, I don't know, is the internet on?
Oh, we've gone through it. I think we've gone through everything. Everything's charged. Everything's roughly ready.
Adam Price Hand saying hello to the beauty and the beast of fly fishing. You can decide which is which.
You charmer.
Funny enough, some people call us the Kimie of fishing.
Yeah, we got, yeah. Well, by some people, we mean one people.
True. But it's still, I like that, so I'm going to count it.
Which one are you, Kanye or Kim?
I'm not going to comment on that. Thank you. Jack Westbury saying hello, guys. Hello.
Hi, Jack. Welcome into the chat. I'll just explain for those of you who just got here. We're just giving it a couple of minutes just to make sure that everyone who wants to join has kind of joined. Make sure there's no tech issues and stuff like that. We can both have a little sip of a drink before we start, which is really important.
Drinking is always important.
Welsh Fly Fisher, how you doing? Thank you very much for coming.
Hello, the Welsh Fly Fisher. Harry Lockett, hope you are all well.
Hi, Harry. I think we're good.
Okay, good? Yeah, we just had like the most gigantic steak and ale pie.
Yeah, I did a little bit of cooking. I don't know about you, I'm sucking some belly in at the moment. We probably need to lift that camera up slightly.
I can't even suck it in. I'm just like, I'm going to hold the notepad here so you can't see.
Actually, that's a good idea. Yeah, I'm going to try that myself.
Yeah, it was very good though. How are you passing the time at the moment? We are literally just doing this. I'm doing a bit of work. You doing a bit of fly tying.
Time flies, yeah. That's all day, every day.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock now, Andy.
It's 8 o'clock, so should we start to have a little think about kicking things off?
On events. I'm so sorry if I'm saying names wrong here. Hi guys, this is a pleasant surprise.
Surprise!
And Nick Trotman turned the envelope around.
Let's got our notes on it.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
That's how organised we are here.
That's your lot.
Is that mine or is that yours?
No, it's mine.
It's yours.
It'll be a bill. I'll open that once the lockdown's finished.
Okay. Right.
So yeah, we probably ought to think about kicking things off first off by saying hi and thank you very much for joining to everyone who's at the other end of that little lens over there. Thank you very much for coming. Second thing we need to do is again say thank you very much to everyone in the NHS, all the key workers and everyone who's working hard to keep us safe and keep the world turning at what is a very, very strange time. So thank you very much to everyone who's involved in keeping us all safe.
And the ones that are not involving in that and just staying at home safe and sound, thank you for staying at home.
You are doing your
keeping
bit.
Everyone safe and sound.
You're doing your bit, so thank you very much. So from the title of the live stream this week, we've chosen what I think could be a pretty sticky topic.
Yeah.
I think we said last time we want to try and make sure that every time we do one of these live streams, there's a kind of broad topic around it, and then we can kind of go off in different directions. We don't really want to do a kind of we're Andy and Yeva, and this is how we catch this fish, and this is how we started fishing. We want it to be something that you guys can get involved in. We want to see that chat room ticking over, and a place where like-minded people can kind of figure out all the key issues going on at the moment. And I think that the one we've chosen today is relevant.
Yes, it is very relevant, especially in 2020. It was probably less relevant a decade ago.
Yeah.
But it's becoming increasingly every single day, more and more. So social media is a massive part of fishing these days, and fishing is a massive part of social media. If you look at all the amount of YouTube channels there is, Facebook groups, Facebook pages, Facebook profiles, Instagram, Twitter, all of that, there's such a big part that is just about fishing. Doesn't matter what kind of fishing, but it's about fishing. So I do think it's important we talked about it.
It's been really interesting, actually. In fact, what you said then, it was pretty cool, actually. In the probably 10 years ago, the social media stuff was around, but maybe there wasn't the brand focus, industry focus that there is today.
Not even industry focus. I think a lot of people right now, including probably us, we are like your own brand focus. Like you represent yourself to the entire world. Whoever wants to see you, that's you representing yourself to everyone, and everyone's trying to do their best, the best that they can anyway.
You're absolutely right. As you know, the bloggers thing. 10 years ago there were bloggers, but that was how, as an angler, you would connect to an audience. I had my Incomplete Angler blog.
How many years ago did you start?
Oh, crikey! I started that 2011, I think. So pretty much 10 years, and really that kind of dried up as the way people communicate with each other turned from being on the blogs to being more big social media platform relevant. So particularly Facebook. Right now.
What's the blog's name?
The incompleteangler.com, although there hasn't been anything new gone on it for quite a while.
The last 4 posts is Andy apologising every 6 months and saying, I promise I will post more.
But I think also that's kind of important, because that means that the platforms and the way we've got to communicate with people as anglers have changed. I remember thinking way back to a website called Sexy Loops. Was an online forum. I joined about 2004, and that was how you communicated with other guys, through forums. You know, that used to be the thing. I mean, with the best will in the world, before you were even considering the whole fishing thing, forums were where people congregated.
Before I was born, probably.
And had these big conversations, alongside which ran the blogs and stuff like that. But all of a sudden, your big social media platforms came in and kind of took all that away.
Yeah. The
question is, has it been for the better or not? And that's what we want you guys to tell us. So actually, we're going to do a very quick straw poll in the chat straight away and say, guys, let us know, yes or no, has social media changed your angling personally for the better? Yes or no? Really simple question.
Well, people answering. So a few people saying hello, John Owen.
Hi, John. How you doing? Hope you're keeping well.
Always so nice to see that name pop up. Craig Palmer, good evening.
Hi, Craig.
Hope you're both well. I'm
nice
sure Craig is sitting watching us with a cold cider in his hand.
Are we going nuts thinking about the Nutbrook?
Sniper Reese Hughes, what is the best fly for farm trout?
Oh, crikey, blob. Bright orange foam mask blob.
Fishing with Ash, evening. Hello,
Hi, Ash. How you doing? Hope you're well.
Adam Price saying, oh geez, remember. Scottish angling, if you're tying every day, you should do a live stream of just tying.
Do you know what? Actually, we did talk about that in the week, didn't we? Speaking of things that happened in the week, one thing we haven't talked about that happened in the week.
Oh no.
Someone had a birthday.
I turned 2 days. Was it 2 days ago?
It was Tuesday,
Yeah.
Thursday. Your birthday. Oh God, I'm in trouble.
It was Thursday.
Where's my drink?
And I turned 26.
Ripe old age.
Downhill from here now. That's it.
Happy birthday, Ivy.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
You drink. I'm saving my gin for the better times when I'm a bit younger. But a lot of people are saying yes. A couple are saying no. A couple are saying no with big shouty letters. I fish to get away from social media.
That's a fair point, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it like that, social media and fishing couldn't be more polar opposite. I think for a lot of people, fishing is a form of getting away and avoiding the world.
Yeah.
Whereas social media is the 21st century's way of keeping you there, keeping you engaged, keeping you buying stuff. Ultimately, these are advertising platforms above anything else. So yeah, I kind of understand that actually. I get where he's coming from with that.
SG saying happy birthday, thank you. Nick Trudman says I can't remember 26. To be fair, with the amount of alcohol that I'd had on Thursday, neither can I. So Craigie says, hi guys, my concern in amongst all this, especially up here in Scotland, is the predators will be having a field day up here in, about cormorants.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that kind of comes in with what we were talking about on the last stream, wasn't it, with the coronavirus? Yeah, it's one of those things that actually we didn't talk about, was the effect of the negative effect of leaving the waters alone. I know we touched on the positives, the idea that the nature could regenerate, but maybe there might be some negatives.
Poaching as well.
Yeah.
Same as with the river close season. Not the river close season, like the coarse fishing season, when that closes, and if there's less anglers on the bank, there's the waters are more open to poaching.
There we go. Maybe there's another coronavirus live stream in this. Maybe we've got ground to cover.
Happy birthday, Ethan. Thank you very much. The Welsh fly fisher social media has helped me develop my techniques, and I think especially from the people like you who were learning through like the Sexy Loops forums and all of that, that has been such a big part. Like even for me now, like if I'm stuck on the bank and I can't remember or I don't know how to tie a specific knot, I will go and like YouTube a how-to very slow video so I will repeat after what the person is doing.
Well, you just do, don't you? If you're on the spot, be it fishing or trying to fix your car or trying to figure out what plants to plant or a recipe, you YouTube it, don't you? That's just the way you kind of get information these days, for better or for worse.
Yeah, which is weird, but at the same time, I guess there is a lot of opinions, and sometimes people confuse their opinions with facts, and I think that's when the heated debates get started and the whole social media just goes downhill very, very quickly.
Well, facts are flexible, aren't they? Whereas one thing that isn't as flexible is stuff like photos. So I think the first kind of big bullet point that we'd highlighted here in terms of the effects of social media on fishing and the industry is quite simply photos and videos. The ability to upload a photo or a video almost immediately of the fish you've just caught or the place you've been fishing, or I don't know, a quick video on how to get to a spot or something like that, would appear on the face of it to be great, because it enables you to connect with other people through your device and have conversations about that. But I think we've probably all seen from what happens on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, that kind of stuff, that it doesn't always go to plan. And I think one of the things that we were going to talk about straight away was people's opinion on stuff like blurring backgrounds and locations in photos. I know that's something that seems to drive debate. Some people agree with it, some people disagree with it. So you guys let us know what you think about people posting pictures with blurred backgrounds and stuff like that. Is it protecting the spot, or is it stopping people from finding good spots? What do you think, Abby?
I don't know. I think it's a weird one, because obviously we don't really name waters on our YouTube videos either, because if you know where it is, you know where it is. You already know where it is. And if you don't know, it just seems a little bit unfair on everyone else who's angling in that specific area for them there to be a lot more pressure. But at the same time, I can't think of many places in UK where it would be public water and access to everyone and a free-for-all.
I guess that,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the things. Obviously, you'll have your day ticket waters. So I'm thinking about, I don't know, blurring the water tower out in a shot on Grapham or something like that, to try and avoid, because they're not only location based, but very, very like micro location based. You know, there is a pipe there, or there is a dip there, and these are locations that will always hold fish, and if you've put the hours in on a boat, spending
You
good
mean
money,
days?
yeah, hours, days, weeks to find these spots, and you start catching fish out of them, you don't want to start. Obviously, you're going to want to post the photos because that's the whole idea of the social media thing. But you're not going to want people to be able to jump straight on that spot, are you?
No, true. But a lot of people, coming back to, like I said, that social media and YouTube and stuff like that help them.
Yeah.
Very few said less. Very few said no. And then no one has answered anything about spot burning yet. But Ash has said that our videos has helped him with his fly fishing. That's
Cool.
very, very
Good.
nice.
Thank you.
Craig Palmer said that the Ladbroke looks spot on.
All the rivers look spot on at the moment.
Ben Blood apologizes for being late. He says Georgia loves the practice rod you recommended, and
Awesome.
Jack is desperate to go fishing this year.
Glad they're enjoying it.
Scottish Angling is asking, how can I get free stuff? I don't know, you tell me.
Where is it? We'll have some too.
Nick Trotman saying that social media got him interested again in fishing, which is great.
There we go. There's a positive straight away.
Joe saying YouTube found him in Slovenia.
Awesome.
Julie Mole saying watching YouTube actually got her into fishing after many years.
Geez, so actually there's already a little bit of a common thread there, isn't there?
Yep. David Hamilton is asking, Andy, how did you get into guiding?
Oh, crikey. Okay.
It's a very long answer. Be careful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the truth is actually it's quite a long answer. I did a bit of guiding while I was at Farlow's, and then when I left Farlow's, I went to work as a full-time guide in the Seychelles. And when I came back from there, set up my own business here. So in and around guiding since 2012.
And now you're stuck. Okay, so Scott Bailey says, yes, 100%, because if it's a water not many know, we'll get to know it, so I like to keep it a mystery. Ethan saying, I think it's protecting the fish and the spots from especially poachers. The Welsh fly fisher says it's a bit of both, really.
Yeah, well, that's the reality, really, isn't
Yeah.
it? I had a message from one of the guys from Snagro, actually got in touch, answered the question on Instagram, and he said that one of the difficulties that he finds is people knowing your spots and what you post, and in turn ruining those locations. I guess particularly for we love Snagro, don't we? It's absolutely hilarious. I love that channel. But it's pretty bloody obvious where they are. You know, there's no there's no secrets about where they're fishing anymore.
It's same as with us, I guess. It's so difficult to it's better to frame a picture when you're holding a fish or whatever, because you can, I don't know, be behind a brick wall. There's loads of brick walls in the UK. You can be behind a bush. But if it's a video and you're constantly moving around, it's impossible to keep a location a secret. Yeah,
we've tried very hard on some of them. You just can't. It's absolutely impossible.
And it has stopped us from filming on a certain venues. Where we know we just couldn't show.
Yeah, absolutely. There are venues that we've talked about fishing on that we know if we did, we wouldn't be able to keep it secret, and we would get absolutely slaughtered for doing it. Yeah. So there are some venues that we don't film on just because of that. We know that it would upset people.
Yeah, and very much so as well. So I think the
what is that?
Shut up. I think the blurred backgrounds are odd. Maybe there are tons of poachers out there scanning Facebook, etc. for spots, but I'm skeptical. You see, I don't like the blurred backgrounds or like the completely wiped out with black or white backgrounds. I think if you want to hide it where you are, most of the time you can do it, but in a more gentle way, like I said, a brick wall or like a bush behind you.
I guess the really difficult ones would be the guys who are out in the boats.
In the boats, yeah.
It becomes very hard. Then actually, way back when Chris Lowe and I went and fished on Trosfinid, we did a day's lure fishing on there. Caught one fish and had the most inane look, the most generic looking background. It's just hills.
Yeah.
And we got stick for that, for posting pictures of a fish caught on Trosfinid. Now the likelihood is, unless you've been to that exact spot, you would never know where we were. No idea where we were. But there were people who recognised that spot and made it very clear they weren't happy with us about it. Yeah.
And a lot of people made it clear. I think it comes a bit more to people as not a shock necessarily, but as they get a bit more angry when it's people traveling from different areas of the country to fish your part of the country, something that is your local water, and then they post pictures, look, I caught a fish there. I think that's when they get a bit more sensitive.
Hey, who knows? It may well be that there are guys who fish a lot down on the Usk who are annoyed that we have filmed videos on the Usk.
Very true.
We've only ever said that we're on the Usk. We've never said exactly where we are. We've never named beats. And actually, I'd say it's one of the most common questions we get via YouTube is, where is this? And our channel policy has always been that if we can, we'll tell you the name of the river or possibly the name of the lake, but we're not going to go any further into it than that, just out of respect for the local guys and stuff like that. Obviously, places like the Y, we're in a club.
Yeah.
And if you want to fish that, you have to join the club. And club water is slightly different, isn't it? That's slightly different territory.
But even that, if we put a video where we fished very well in a specific area, there's quite a few people going and fishing that specific area afterwards.
But I guess day ticket water is a bit more sensitive, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can't hide where we are
on the video,
but we can avoid telling people. And actually, we have had that quite a lot, haven't we? Where we just had to say to people, it's a canal. It's a canal. We have a very generic answer saying this is a river Trent.
We're not going to name exactly where it is just because of the respect to the local anglers, and that's it. Adam Pratt's Hunt is saying, I never used to lure, caught a huge pike from a local canal and filmed the fight. Saw swarms of anglers hitting it after me, and Ash posted it. Lesson learned.
Yeah, there we go. I think I know the pike that you're talking about, and that is the reality, isn't it? Is that people are going to be looking for spots. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Alongside looking for technical stuff from a video, people are going to be looking at where you're fishing, and if you're doing well there, they're going to want to go and fish it too.
Alan's saying, I'm all for protecting venues. Another account that's just M4TTRM saying, but I do fish a very public beat on a river, so it's not an issue.
Yeah.
Brandon Shaw saying, social media is great when you learn to filter out the crap and focus on the good stuff. There are a lot of keyboard warriors who think they know everything and become an overnight expert.
Yeah, well, I think at some point we're going to move on to kind of that area on, unless he's talking about us. Let's not be talking about us, Brendan.
To be fair, I am know-it-all, because I do know it all. Philippa, hello.
Hey,
why are you late to the party? So Philippa, she's a really good friend of ours. She's a fly fisher girl and a really, really good fly tyer.
Very talented fly tyer.
Doesn't live too far from us either. She's been great in fishing with you.
Yeah.
Brendan Shaw says, I think you have to develop an eye for who are the real experts and take the rest with a pinch of salt. Fishing with Ash, the thing I found with a couple of my videos I've done, a perch spot, I went filmed a video, then went a couple of days later and was about 4 anglers when there is never anyone fishing. Now spot's dead. Yeah,
there we go. Another example. If you film a video on a public area and make it obvious where it is, the chances are you're burning your own spot, which is not only going to be a pain in the bum for you, but you risk upsetting other local anglers as well. So it's a real problem, isn't it? That one. It's a difficult one to get around.
Owen Morgan, good evening.
Hi, Owen.
Martin Long, if you have a small free stretch of water that is lightly fished, I think luring is fine. On popular waters, it seems pointless.
Yeah, fair point.
The Butterfly Fisher, your part 1 and part 2 of a French leader made me get a lighter rod and try it for the first time. Now I love it.
Good man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mark Hall, hello.
Hi Mark, how you doing?
Brenton again, I think also the social media has been great for getting new anglers into fly fishing. It has made a lot more accessible than before social media. But I'm really tired of the secrecy in fishing. We desperately need more anglers and should be doing more to get people on the fish to keep them engaged, especially kids. I'm sure a lot of clubs would agree.
Well, that's the other side of this point, isn't it? Is if we secret squirrel all the best fishing away and don't let anyone else see it, then are we risking possibly alienating people who are struggling or maybe have tried it once and didn't get on with it, didn't catch anything?
In fairness, if someone messaged us privately and said, do you know of where we could go and catch a few fish in Derbyshire, we would have never no, not giving you anything.
Yeah,
we would recommend the local clubs, the local tackle shops that can give you an answer or sell you a day ticket to a good water.
Well, isn't that interesting though, is in that with all this information in social media, still the reality is the best thing to do for information for someone new is to join a club and go and speak to the guys in your local shop. Yeah. It's still the best thing to do. They're going to give you some information. It might cost you a couple of quid in the shop, but it'll be worth it because you'll have a shop on side who you can get information from. You're supporting a shop, which is a great thing to do, and it avoids that kind of social media issue I think.
Very much so as well.
That's a good point.
And I think that's the scary part now with shopping online and shopping over the internet, with your local shops closing. Like, who are you going to ask? Are you going to call a big retailer and say, do you know where to fish in Derby or Nottingham? Like, they most likely they won't. So that's one downside of the online business. Mark Paul says social is good, yes. However, me being me, the way some people actually handle the fish is what gets the blood boiling.
Yeah, we're going to come on to that one pretty soon, actually.
A fish to ask, you're more than welcome. Loads of people come to Wales to fish. I really don't mind at all. I love the ask video.
Thank you.
I think the best day on the river ask that we had, we never even filmed it.
Oh, we were filming was a long way away, wasn't it? From even being an idea, yeah.
And that was the best fishing I've ever had, the best fly fishing I've ever had.
But we're still going to tell you exactly where it is.
Reese fishes, as a rule, if you discover it for yourself, you should have the autonomy to decide whether it's shared or not. In the event that a fellow angler shares information with you in confidence, the common sense.
The reality is, how many people are discovering a spot for the first time these days?
The reality is, common sense is not common these days.
Well, yeah. I can't think of a time in the last 10 years where I thought I found a spot here that no one else knows about.
True.
The likelihood is someone else has already fished it. I totally understand where it's coming from. It's a good point.
Craig Palmer, I personally believe social media has helped fishing gain more anglers, especially ladies and young children. It's a fantastic means to gain information about local clubs and problem solving. I absolutely agree, and at the same time want to say that there are still so many clubs, especially around us, they're so secretive that you can't find any information on, not even just social media, but just on the internet in general. You will Google it, you will not get any information about that club. So it's coming back to what Ben Blood said, it is just the secrecy.
Yeah, and you know what? Adam Price Hunt sent me a message, actually, I know he's in the chat now, that kind of pertains to what we're talking about here. Social media is known for connecting more people together and is an amazing promotion tool, which I think is fair enough.
Yeah.
So why, as fly fishing becomes more publicly active and fashionable on social media, are we still seeing drops in memberships and participation? It's a great question. Why is it? Fly fishing has never been more accessible.
In fly fishing especially, I think, I was talking to a friend a couple of days ago, where I think the reason why more young kids join and start lure fishing these days rather than fly fishing is because the lure fishing community made it look cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to street fish now. It's cool to have a little bait caster. It's cool to fish the streets canal in Birmingham somewhere. Like, it's really cool. And fly fishing, it's all like, I don't know.
It's still hidden away, isn't it? It's still hidden behind this kind of tweed-clad price wall.
Yeah. It's not like, it's starting to look cool and cooler, but I don't think everyone just knows that it is accessible and it can be done on a budget. We get slaughtered for, when we did the little video, the little...
Yeah, well, do you know, we knew it was going to happen. It was just unfortunate.
We made it very clear. So the day we filmed a very cheap rod, and we said we're going to catch a few fish, and we did, and I've got really beautiful brownie as well. But we said in the video a couple of times, we are on this river and we know that it's a really expensive beat where we're fishing, but everything else is flooded, and we wanted to film
we were just unlucky
before the rods got sold out of all the shops, because with Lidl doing special items, usually once it's out, that's it. Like, it's like a week window.
The plan all along was to film that little outfit on our stretch of the Dove, which is in terms of cost much more accessible than somewhere like the Peacock, which is quite a lot more money. But it was flooded, and as you say, we had that weekend to do it. We didn't know what the weather was going to be like the following weekend, so we had to go and film a vlog about a 40 quid fly fishing outfit on what is regarded as quite an expensive club, and we were fully aware of the irony of it. It was just, we just didn't have any other choice, did we? We're kind of veering away from the kind of path here, aren't we? The second part of photos and videos I wanted to talk about is fish handling. You could look at it and say, well, actually, with YouTube videos particularly, but also with photos on different platforms, that there's absolutely no excuse these days for someone to not be good at handling fish.
Yeah.
Because there's loads there to learn. But actually, one thing that we did here, and I had a message from Mark Hall, actually, he's in the chat. This has exposed a lot of dodgy, bad fish handling practice. Things like lying on grass or rocks and gravel in order to get the perfect shot. Then there's lip gripping, mechanical grips, basically what Mark's saying is that he feels like people are possibly risking the health of the fish to get their shot. And I think that is something that comes up quite a lot. In fact, again, something that's probably pertinent to us because we are grip and grinners.
Yeah.
In our photos, we do those photos. I do it with my business. If my clients want a photo holding a fish, I know that I can do that safely. Obviously, people aren't there to see the photos happening, and they don't see exactly the process of it happening. So people might look at it and say, "Well, you're holding that fish up or out or further than you should do, and you're risking damaging the fish." Whereas sometimes that isn't the reality. I will say though that I have seen some horror shows. I think we've seen a few between us on Facebook and on YouTube of really bad fish handling. Is that something you guys have seen before, and is it something that concerns you? I'd be interested to hear if you comment on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I would want to see, have you seen any kind of like particularly really bad fish handling on social media, especially recently? I've seen a couple. I've seen a couple of really bad ones, but interestingly, it's usually the people that would be commenting on other people's techniques of handling fish are the ones that do it as well. So it's a bit of irony there for me, but I haven't seen loads, to be honest.
Well, I guess the one that comes up, and actually it's difficult because the photos aren't always in the UK, and there'll be different cultures of fish handling. But the one that always comes up is like the pike held out on a boga grip. And people shouldn't be doing that with pike. It's as simple as that. You shouldn't really be doing it with any fish. But I know that there's always, particularly in the UK, there's a lot of concern about the way the US bass anglers kind of lip grip their bass like that. Perch, it's starting to come in now. That lip grip is starting to come in more and more. I don't know about you, Ivy, but actually, while I'm handling a perch, I am quite happy to have a thumb and lip grip.
As long as you support the body.
Generally, I'd be supporting the body with the other hand.
I find it that it's a lot safer because you have control of a perch. It doesn't flap.
Yeah, I feel I've got more control over it. But there are people out there who would say, well, that doesn't look right, and perhaps that's a cultural thing. Perhaps they're right. Perhaps it's not right. Perhaps we're not doing it right. Again, I'd love to hear some opinions in the chat room about this one.
Well, talking about the chat room, so Greg Palmer, I personally believe social media has helped fishing. Oh no, I read that. Sorry, guys. Okay, so Philippa says thank you. You're welcome. Steven says, do we want people to fish and catch? Sounds like competition anglers hiding flies in a tin foil.
Yeah, it's a good point. Do we want people to catch or not? If we do, we should be a bit more social with a social media post.
Yeah, Craig McDonald is grabbing a beer. Good on you, Craig.
Good man.
He didn't miss it this time. I will unblock you now. Scott Bailey saying, what would be a good fly rod and reel for pike carp for about 50 to 100 pounds?
Oh, I'd have to think about that one.
If you want to message...
drop the message. I'll do my best to help you out with that one. I'm sure there'll be something.
Don Fishing UK, well, everywhere as a local fishery, canal, river, etc. The best way to learn is try and catch something the same way I did. London Predator Angler, hello Barry, evening, Liv and Andy, hope you had a nice birthday the other day. Yes, thank you very much. Don Fishing UK saying you meet people that you learn stuff from without having to say this spot, this bait.
Yeah, fair point.
Local tourist information centers is usually my first stop. I go if I don't know the town just to get an idea. Absolutely.
Interestingly, actually, way back when, Rich Chapman and I filmed a vlog up on Red Tarn in the Lake District. And when we arrived in the Lake District early in the morning, the local toy shop had just opened and we didn't really know where we were going perfectly. So when they said, look, this is where we're planning on going. How do we get there? And the lady in the tourist office looked at us and went, are there fish in there? At which point we thought, right, maybe we're not in the right place. So perhaps that's a localized thing.
Yeah. Andy Sparks is asking if it's like you talk to anglers.
You know.
Nick Trotman, I know a great little river near me, but can't find out who owns it. Again, the secrecy around fly fishing. As even the doctor says, you are allowed 1 glass a day. Jono, in one club I know of states in its rule book that showing the club water's book to a non-member is disciplinary matter.
Crikey,
Wow.
I mean, it's just crazy,
How
isn't
would
it?
you I can't get an idea of how would you invite more members into your club and get more people to join it if people are not allowed to that information?
Absolutely bizarre, isn't it? What a strange thing to still happen in the 21st century.
Right, Ethan Rush keeps deleting his comments. What are you trying to say? For me, the issue is the £125 per year to join my local fly fishing club. I have paid it, but still, it's an insane amount of money. The course club I was in a year ago, it's still like £30 to join.
Do you know, that's not uncommon, is it?
It's not uncommon.
I think often this is driven by demand. Again, we're going off topic a little bit here, but I'll just go in on this one. So, generally, quality fly fishing waters have demanded a higher price than the same river further downstream where it flattens out and slows down a little bit. So it's not necessarily about people. I don't think your club's going to be making a load of profit on it or anything. It's probably just that the landowner up at the top is getting offered X amount of money from other clubs and can afford it. If you're a landowner, you're going to take the highest amount.
Yep.
It's an open market. But yeah, I'd say generally your quality fly fishing water from a landowner's perspective is worth more and is going to bring more money in. It is a frustrating one for fly fishing, the price thing.
Martin Log saying cost again. So to fish good waters cost a fortune and are out of the reach of your average person. There are some free urban areas, but not many. Tackle can be found very cheap, but not the clubs. I would agree with that. I think that's a very fair shout, especially if it's a fly fishing.
Well, yeah. I guess it depends where you're on the country. So I'm thinking West Country Passport. There are rivers or stretches of river on the West Country Passport that are like a tenner a day. You know, it's the same price as fishing a commercial carp fishery. Wine Foundation has started to creep their prices up a little bit, and actually I know some of the local anglers are getting frustrated about that. But you could still get a very, very good 1.5 mile stretch of the Usk for 20 quid. Obviously, if you live in the south, if you live around Hampshire or Berkshire or places like that, where you're talking chalk streams and high demand because of the amount of people, it's going to be really prohibitive. So that's going to be a problem.
So a lot of people are saying that it's a cost thing. Why more people are in a different sport than not fly fishing.
There is probably a whole live stream in this. How do we save fly fishing? I think that it'd be an interesting live stream.
Adam Price saying, could mandatory fish handling lessons one day become part of gaining a rod license to remove the I don't know better excuse? Actually, some countries do that. I know that in the countries like Poland, you have to literally sit through a course for you to gain a angling license, almost like a driving.
I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying it's the same in Germany.
Yeah,
I think you have to sit a test in Germany as well.
So it's a fair point. I think, I don't know about you, but I have seen in real life not that many people that would mishandle the fish that badly.
I, through my job, get to watch a lot of people handle fish. My clients, while I'm getting ready to take a photo of them, and the amount of times I've seen someone genuinely handle a fish badly is virtually zero. And I'm talking experienced anglers who've been doing it for 50 years. I'm talking about guys who only picked a rod up an hour ago. Generally, people are pretty careful with stuff, and just by talking to them and saying, look, fish is going to be out of the water for no more than 10 seconds, and then we're going to give him a dunk and we'll rest him for a minute, and then we'll check the photos while he's resting, and maybe we give him another quick lift, and then we put him back. I haven't seen that many people handle fish badly. I have seen really bad examples of fish handling on social media though, so I guess that's one of those things where social media can highlight the good and the bad.
My little pet hate of, especially when trout fishing or grilling fishing, whatever, is when you wade in the river and you take a fish with dry hands. I cannot stand that. I grip my teeth. Actually, Andy Sparks commented, what I really hate is watching YouTube anglers wipe the fish slime off fish before returning them. It's important fish retain the slime. It's very important.
Absolutely,
for the fish to retain the slime.
Totally agree with that.
Ethan Rush, yes, that is my pet hate. That gets my blood boiling. Grip pitch. David Smith says lip grip perch with body hold only. Fishing with Ash says I like lip gripping pike.
Good luck with that one.
Right. So, do you want to carry on with?
Yeah, well, I guess the next kind of thing with regards to photos and videos, particularly with photos, is I know there are instances where people have been caught poaching by posting photos of their fish, and people have said, well, that water's closed at the moment, or you're not in that club. Have any of you guys in the chat room at the moment ever had a situation where or your club has discovered that someone is poaching your water just by a picture they posted? And I know for absolute sure that a guy posted a picture of a pike that he caught from a stretch of canal, which was Burton Mutual Water, and I know he isn't a member. And it was reported. We didn't follow it up. It was one instance, but yeah, we caught this guy poaching because he posted a bloody picture of himself doing it. And there must be more instances there of people doing that. I guess the flip side is there's going to be the poachers have got better focus on where to go because of the amount of pictures going up on Facebook of people catching fish.
Well, Ben Blood raises a very good point. There's no unhooking man behind our perch.
It was pretty soft. It's not nice, nice soft grass. Yeah.
Dom Fishing UK says I carry a double mattress around to make sure the fish have something to lay on.
A little pillow as well.
Yeah. Fishing with Ginger is asking, what's your PB pike?
Oh, mine's 32.
Mine was 82 centimeters, 87 centimeters.
Yeah, just be clear, mine was pounds, not centimeters.
Yeah, I know.
That'd be pretty pathetic. Well, yours was that late Norfolk fish, wasn't it? 92, 93 fish, centimeters. Yeah.
I think you should do a video on how to lip grip pike.
Yeah, just straight up from the front of the lip, it'd be great.
Full ticket for one of the local clubs that has lots of trout water as well as other is around £800 a year.
It's a lot of money. The likelihood it's that much money because there is the demand for it. I think that's the problem, is that there is increasingly so little good quality fly wall, but that's just not true. It's always been that it hasn't been available. You know, these big clubs have squirreled it away, or private syndicates. As the more socialised schemes like the Winers Foundation and the West Country Passport and the Peak Passport start to grow, hopefully that means that the availability of more water becomes open. I think the real litmus of this is when we get a Hampshire River scheme. It's just not going to happen. The reality is, it's as simple as that. It's not going to happen.
So the trout fly fisherman saying, the thing is that most angling clubs have an older generation on them and they're stuck in their old ways. Don't be talking bad about old people. I have Andy here.
Hey.
Unfortunately, some are good and some are bad and find it hard to get some points across. Try not to handle fish unless you are killing them should be what everyone does. Boils my blood seeing people with a big fish holding it out with the water and then releasing it. They don't care really, clearly.
See, I don't think there's anyone in the world who can see a net positive to holding a fish out of water.
Or fishing for them.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Yeah. If it we know that holding a fish out of the water for any length of time is going to damage it. It's as simple as that. I guess what we need to do is find that balance between holding it out of the water for a few seconds just to get a nice photo, because who doesn't like a nice photo of a fish, and just not doing that at all. I personally, and we've worked on this a lot. We've got a system between us, haven't we? Yeah. When we're doing this, I don't have a worry about lifting a fish out for a few seconds. No. I really don't. At the point where the drips stop, that suggests that there's no water on the gills and the gills have got dry, and then you give it a dunk and you rest it for a minute or two. Have a look at the photos, make sure they're okay, and then if you need to, give it a lift for another couple of seconds, click, 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 and get your fish back. And for me, I personally don't think that is doing that much harm. And the reason I don't think it's doing any harm is because of the amount of recaptures we've had. Even
the same day, like we had one within an hour on the dove, remember? Yeah. So Philip Robbins saying, I don't agree that fly fishing is expensive. I live in Carlisle.
Yep.
And have access to some cracking trout and grading waters via FishPal and local membership waters.
FishPal's another great example of a organisation that has kind of socialised fly fishing a little bit, and it's been a real help to be able to get the charities and stuff like that to be able to deal kind of wholesale with landowners and get access to those waters, because the reality is these waters have always been there and the trout have always been there. The landowners have always just gone after the biggest buck they could get for their waters, because you would. That's the market they're in. I think with organisations like Winers Foundation and possibly FishPal, I don't know this about FishPal for certain, but Wolf is set up as a charity, and I have a feeling that as part of the charity system, any landowners that are connected to that charity is seen as a good thing and possibly non-taxable income. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know there's advantages.
So back to the question that we asked. So Adam Price saying, I've seen river trout photos with trout laid in winter snow from our club water. Ethan says, yes, my club have found poachers from Insta photos.
There we go, it happens.
The Welsh fly fisher says, yes, we had a few youngsters last year posted a picture of 8 beautiful trout in one day and killed them all. They weren't members and wasn't during the season. Very bad. We had similar situation in our waters as well. Well, yes, I've seen on social media a few people caught fishing during this lockdown. I guess with the lockdown, it's different, isn't it? Like the grounds, the rules are not very clear at the moment.
Oh, they're pretty clear.
Are they?
Well, you don't leave your house for one of 4 reasons.
But now they contradict themselves, saying that you can even drive to go for a walk.
Yeah. I guess the problem is that we still haven't established whether angling. Well, we have established that angling isn't exercise. The problem is some people still want to push that boundary.
Yeah.
Stay at home. Don't go fishing.
Don't Fishing Gay says, yes, send some photos to a club. I'm in to find out if people have been members due to backgrounds, and in each instance they were not.
Yeah, there we go. So this is a thing, and this is one of those things I wrote down. I was like, I only know this is an issue that I've come across. I wonder if other people haven't. It sounds like
River Clyde 55 per season. If that's not value for money for one of the best rivers in the UK, then I don't know what is.
I wish we lived a bit closer to the River Clyde.
Joe says, last August upper 7 you guys carry a carrier bag full of trout. This week saw them on YouTube poaching again. Riverkeeper has now a visual picture of them. He will be waiting.
There you go. Hopefully they're blown
hell.
So this is a thing. This is happening.
Ethan Rush, I think all clubs must have a cheaper junior ticket. Absolutely agree with that.
Absolutely agree with that.
Scott Bailey, I don't think Google Earth helps, but it can be good because of poachers. What do you think?
Well, do you know what? It's one of those things that I do like to have a little sneak around on Google Earth. I guess the difference is between me and a poacher is that having found somewhere that I think looks kick-ass on Google Earth, I wouldn't then just walk down and fish it.
Yeah.
I'd try and find out who controls it. Whereas if your motivation is to go and fish somewhere without paying for it, or to go and steal some fish, you're just not going to do that, are you?
No,
You're just going to go and fish it.
SG saying, do you think that financial accessibility of fly fishing is a key factor in poaching, bad handling by those new to the sport?
Ooh, crikey, that's a good question.
Less expensive, better handling.
Well, I'm thinking specifically the point you made about the people poaching because it's too expensive to join the clubs. I guess it's a possibility. If you live around thinking the test and the itching in that area, there isn't a whole lot of available fishing unless you've got very deep pockets, and you're going to feel a little bit aggrieved about that. Yeah. So I would guess in an area like that, probably there will be possibly more people poaching just because of the bloody price of it. But as we've already seen, £55 a year to fish the River Clyde, there is absolutely no excuse for people to poach the River Clyde in that area, because that's a bargain.
Danny Parkins says, social media and its effect on fishing. Where do I start? Single-handedly, the reason I fly fish, getting away from the scene. You know the score.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of make whatever you make out of these scenarios. I mean, Danny was one of the kind of OG social media anglers, wasn't he? Or is one of the OG social media anglers. He was there way back when, and will have experienced the good and the bad from.
Basically, Danny, when Andy's trying to say you're old,
you're a little bit older.
Deal with it.
Hope the Bambino's good, by the way.
So Pozza says hello from Italy. Hello, Pozza. We hope you're
Ciao.
good and safe. Martin Gillette says, I found out last Sunday when saw 2 men poaching and reported them to EA. The poachers are really a problem at my local lake because of current situation. The police do not want to go near to deal. I guess the police are so under-resourced and they don't have enough resources to go to every incident that has been reported. And probably, even though that poaching is now referred to as theft of property, unless you have really good evidence and the police available, it just would be impossible for police to go in every single report.
The reality is what you need is an EA enforcement officer,
and there's very few
often. There just aren't many of those people. They're so thinly spread. It's a real frustration.
The Welsh fly fisher says, would love to try the River Clyde. Alan says, probably a bit of a subject. What is your opinion on Takara fly fishing?
What's your opinion on Tenkara fly fishing?
I never tried it, so I don't know, but I think it looks a bit weird without a reel. I don't know, but I've never tried it.
I did try it, actually. I got hold of some Tenkara stuff in 2012 and had a go with it. And my problem with it was always because there's no reel, because there's no extra line, I was always worried about getting broken off, and was reassured by the guys from Tenkara USA that you do this, that, and that to avoid it. And the first time I took it out on some dove, I got broken off within 10 minutes. And it just, at that point, I just thought, well, I've got a 10-foot 2 weight anyway on 11-foot 2 weight, so I've got a fly rod that I can do all the tenkari stuff with essentially, but I've got a reel and line on it. So I think people forget with tenkari that that was a technique that was designed for fishing tiny little streams for little yamame trout, tiny little things. It wasn't designed for catching the kind of big fish that we're fortunate to have around here, I guess. So
What fish would that be?
well,
The big massive fish.
these guys behind us.
So Tom Cole says, hi guys, just joined, so apologies if already mentioned.
Welcome, Tom.
Regarding cost of fishing, one thing that I find frustrating is joining fees. The more than double the cost of a ticket in the first year. To be fair, that has stopped me joining one of the clubs near me. It's just because I think it literally makes the first year double the price, and I'm just thinking, can I afford it? Like, if it was just the membership fee, yeah, I probably would be already in it for the last 2 years. But with the joining fee, do I really want to spend that much money?
It's a lot of money.
When I'm already in one club, probably not.
It's a lot of money. I guess what we need to do now is kind of bring this back round onto the tracks a little bit, and go a little bit more in depth on the whole social media thing. And point number 2 that we've got listed is Facebook groups. So I'm talking about specific groups for an area. So I don't know, fly fishing in Derbyshire, or I'm talking groups for a specific species or style of species. So there's UK predator fishing, isn't there? UK perch fishing, and there's probably carp and salmon and barbel and lots of others that we're not in. On the face of it, Facebook groups would appear to be the perfect source of information for someone who's looking for information. They're groups full of people who all have that same specific common interest. And someone in there is probably going to have the relevant knowledge that you're looking for.
But you see, at the same time, as a newbie, like for me, if I ask a question and if I'm going to get like 100 different answers, it's so hard for you to narrow it down to which information that you have been given is the right one. So if you ask someone right now, what would be the best, I don't know, setup to fish a dry and dropper rig, and you would be given 5 different answers by 100 different people, how do you know?
Well, I guess the reality is that there isn't a best, but everyone's always going to think that theirs is the best.
Yeah.
It's just the way I think mine is the best, and someone else will think theirs is the
best.
I
don't think yours is the best.
Well, I can't remember what it feels like. But yeah, so on the Facebook groups would appear to be the perfect place to gain and share information with people. Unfortunately, as a lot of us will probably be aware, it doesn't always work like that, and actually a lot of people, myself included, have had pretty negative experiences in Facebook groups. So if you guys in the chat room have had any good or bad experiences with Facebook groups specifically, because I think that is a really broad thing on its own, isn't it?
I would love to read your comments on the experiences you had, either very good or very bad.
Well, you've had some instances that have been either very xenophobic.
Yeah, I was about to say my main ones would be like if I post or like share a picture into a group, there will be like 10, 20 comments saying, I hope you released it, or like, why are you holding that fish out of the water, or
I hope you're not poaching.
I hope you're not poaching, like, yeah.
Did it go back is always the one, isn't it? Because
like
you've
that.
got a funny sounding name.
Yeah, or they will be like, yeah, clearly the lethal fish killer.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of comments as well, saying, oh, especially if I post it in like foreign groups, so back home maybe they're a little bit less keen on female anglers, so I will get a lot of who caught that for you, or who's letting you hold that fish, and stuff like that. But I'll take it with a pinch of salt, to be honest. I couldn't care less. It's just
the thing is, though, you've got a very strong personality, and stuff like that will bounce off you. Whereas for someone who's just coming in, if a Lithuanian female angler based in the UK went out and caught a fish and was really proud of it, and then posted it in a Lithuanian forum or Lithuanian group and got that experience, she's possibly less likely to want to go and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people will be discouraged as well. Not even discouraged necessarily just to stop posting the pictures or share their experience, but also to go fishing.
Well, but all of a sudden that whole thing becomes a negative experience.
Yeah, and you think, is that how actually everyone is? Like, I don't want to meet people like that on a bank who are going to be telling me, am I killing that fish? Like, do I have an Asda bag in my rucksack to take that big trout with me? Like, it's not a nice thing.
And also, I guess for you, the sexism as well.
Yeah, I get the both good and That didn't make sense. I get very good.
Nice. Looking good. Fish isn't bad either.
Yes.
The amount of times that same
Yes.
comment over and over again.
Yeah, but again, I don't mind it. Like,
But again, because you've got a strong personality, it will bounce off you. Whereas I imagine for some women, that would be a little bit intimidating, having 100 leery men.
yeah, but again, remember, I said to you every single time, it's very, very interesting to me to see if I'm fishing on a river, if it's me and Andy fishing, if someone approaches, they're gonna make a little joke and say, "Oh, are you teaching him how to fish?" And they're gonna be like, it's gonna be quite fun and like all very innocent. If I'm fishing on my own, the questions and the comments asked are very, very different. The first thing will be, "Hi, how you doing?" Whatever. As soon as they hear my accent, they're gonna be, "Oh, where are you from then?" And I will go like, "Ashbourne." Like, where are you from? Why are you asking me this? But then the questions and the way someone's going to be talking to you are very, very different if I'm going to be fishing on my own or if you're going to be with me.
And I guess that coming back to the groups, we've seen instances where that's been the same in the groups, hasn't it? Is that people seem to have spoken to you differently because you are a female angler.
A female and a foreign.
Yeah.
What a lucky woman I am. Danny Barkin's saying, do you see lockdown having a positive or negative effect on angling social media? We know we now have the time to produce more, but also on the flip, we are possibly producing as it's just something to do.
Are we supposed to take a hint from that, do you reckon?
Yeah, Danny, what are you trying to say?
Hint taken. Cheers, Danny.
Stopping the lives now.
Number one, I can't get what he says. There will be a big influx of stuff, and because no one in the UK can go out and fish, it's going to be stuff like this that is away from the riverbank. I can only really speak from our side of things. All we're trying to do is provoke some conversation in the industry. Yeah, there is probably some weird stuff going up on YouTube, and perhaps the quality of the content might have gone down a little bit because of that. I guess there are a certain number of people out there, brands particularly, who need the outreach of social media and need to continue to use it and are going to have to find new and different ways of doing that while we can't fish. So yeah, Danny's got a point there, but perhaps the quality or the focus of some of the content has changed.
So Andy Spark says, I think we will soon see the abandonment of joining fees. Golf clubs did them for years and many have stopped them. I think fishing clubs will do the same before long. I agree. I think the less people will start joining the clubs, the more they're going to have to do to attract people to join these clubs.
Yeah.
Adam Price Hand says, I moderate for 2 large Facebook fishing groups. It can get a little stressful.
Understatement.
Greg Palmer, you will always have keyboard warriors in Facebook groups. Very true.
Yeah, true. And that kind of comes on to the second part of the Facebook groups thing, was that they can be a little bit cliquey. That a lot of those groups will be groups of people who are friends, and it can be intimidating for someone who is either new to it totally or new to that particular specialism of that group to come into a group of people who all seem to know each other and fish together and share photos and stuff together. And it can be really difficult, and we've seen the really negative side of that with some. I've had a couple of bad Facebook group experiences. I know you have, and I've seen some absolute horror shows kind of unfurl as ever happened.
I think the sad one for me are something happened 4 years ago, and people are still remembering trolling the same people that did one mistake 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, we could all move on from. I'm sure people will learn and then move on from the stuff that they have done in the past.
Actually, I had a very long today. I had a very, very long message from a chap regarding Facebook groups. No, I don't want to give any details. I'm going to keep this guy anonymous, and his club anonymous. He basically said that he had been levered out of his fishing club that he'd been in for years. This is an international angler, very, very good angler, very well known. But he'd been levered out of his fishing club off the back of something that took place on a Facebook group, which I don't know, do the lines between kind of real life and Facebook get blurred a little bit? Should they be separate? Should you be castigated for something that gets said on a Facebook post in the heat of the moment from behind a screen in your bedroom? But yeah, it was a very long negative experience about what happened, and has basically cost this chap who had been in the club for years and is a very, very well-known angler, has cost him his place in his fishing club.
It's quite interesting what you said about their real life and then obviously the social media, because I had experience where I haven't agreed necessarily with everyone online, and I'm very opinionated, and I'm not scared of that. I love to have an argument every now and again, but at the same time, when you meet that person in person in real life, the experience was very different. The people were very nice, and as long as I know that what I'm saying is what I believe in, I'm not going to feel guilty or bad about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it goes both ways. I still think that everyone, like all these trolls and all people that are really negative and like being almost bullies on social media, in real life, there would be none of that. They would never go into someone fishing and saying, why are you doing this? Like, no one would have the balls to do it.
I can only ever think of it happening once, and that was one particularly big, well-known angler storming into a fishing lodge at 8 o'clock in the morning and finding a particularly physically small, well-known angler and offering him out in the car park. But after that, I've never seen any of it since, and I don't know, maybe it does happen.
Maybe it does. I think it's very rare. I think most of the people that are quite mean on internet wouldn't even dare to say anything out loud like that in person.
Actually, I'm going to bring in a second message that I was sent a couple of days ago, again by a chap who I'm going to keep anonymous, just because that's not fair to kind of throw it out of there. But this is a guy who ran international competition fishing teams. You know, he was right at the top of the game as far as competitions goes. And he sent me a message saying, I personally removed myself from Facebook due to the negativity towards competition angling, and even found myself checking my Facebook every few minutes in case I missed something. My head was in a right mess, losing sleep, etc. I left Facebook back in September, October, and I've never felt better. So this gives you an idea of the pressures that the negative side of this can put on you, particularly for someone who's in a big position like that, where he's running an international team, to feel the need to get rid of that entire platform because it's having such a big effect on his life. You know, this isn't just petty little squabbles in a group. This is affecting someone's mental health.
And that's not good. That's definitely not good. Well, Don Fishing EK says, yeah, he's left most of the groups. Was even banned from a couple because the people running them either don't have a sense of humor or dislike my opinion on certain subjects. Fishing with Ash says, found Adam on Facebook for some local advice on fly fishing. Now we go together at every chance we can.
Well, that is the beauty.
That's the positive.
Yeah, brilliant.
The trout fly fisherman says, Facebook groups, my experience is they can be full of people thinking they know best, and I would encourage people more to watch people on YouTube and try what they like the sound of. Philippa Hayes saying fly tying groups are just as bad.
Yeah, I mean, just while you're reading a few of these out, I'm going to nip behind the camera and just make sure that everything's charging and we're not going to get cut off.
Go for it. Danny Parkins saying, here's a juicy one. You touched on it with my last comment. How do you as a combo feel growing social media is now in today's age? Have you found it hard or easy?
Just give me some context on that one again, babe. Sorry, I wasn't quite in.
You're not reading. So here's a juicy one from Danny Parkins. You touched on with my last comment. How do you as a combo feel growing social media is now in today's age? Have you found it hard or easy?
I honestly don't know the answer to that. I mean, the reality is I think it's probably as hard or as easy as you want to make it. I mean, the reality is with YouTube, which is the only platform that we are on together.
Yeah. And I think it's the main platform that we both focusing
right
now.
I mean, YouTube is as hard or as easy as you want to make it based on the amount of content you put up. There'll be a few different reasons why we're not a bigger channel than we possibly could have been, and the biggest one of which is that we just don't post enough stuff. We've always got this target of posting one video a week. We never do it.
But we've done it for a year straight.
First year we managed it. Second year, I think we only posted 32 videos all year. So I think Danny's question is probably coming more from the social side of it than, you know, trying to beat the YouTube algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Is it difficult for us to be accepted and grow our channel kind of as a team? Is that what Danny's saying possibly?
I don't know, Danny. You need to tell me a bit more
give us a little bit.
Rewrite your comment.
Give us a bit more filling on
Talking
that.
to a foreign female here.
I think.
Come on.
Do you know what? I think it's a good question. I quite like the question. I'd just like to know a little bit more about what he's looking for on that one.
Ethan Rush is saying, I get a lot of private messages about how cruel I am of hooking a fish and taking it out of the water. I had a few of them from like a what are they called, animal activists on Instagram, not on Facebook, and it's fine. They believe in what they believe, and I believe in what I believe, and you just have to, as long as it's not hurting me physically and mentally, I can deal with that, but I can see where that might be a problem. Brendan Shaw says, currently in lockdown, we have Paul Proctor and Howard Croston posting how to tie their comp-winning flies. Just amazing, really, and all for free.
Fantastic. Two of the best anglers that the UK has ever produced are giving away the sequels for free.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant. I love watching Howard's stuff and Paul's stuff. Howard, what we're talking about, the world champion. Best flying on the planet, and he's giving away content for free. It's brilliant.
Nick Trotman says, I like you too, Andy.
Cheers, Nick.
Winning Ways. Hello,
hi Rich. How you doing?
When you see kids getting a torrent of abuse for posting a fish picture without an unhooking mat or whatever, that could be the first catch, and that's their first impression of the angling world.
Absolutely totally. Brilliant point. Absolutely brilliant point. There is, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with saying to a young angler, look, next time you ought to take an unhooking mat with you. What you can't do is make it aggressive or personal or intimidating. That's the last thing we want. We're having enough trouble.
Or even to belittle someone. Just don't be dicks,
absolutely,
be nice.
Absolutely, yeah. And my hope is that I think on those when you do see one of those pictures, maybe what you need to do is try and say to that person, it's worth getting yourself on a hooking mat and going and having a word in your local tackle shop. And you can start that kind of engagement between that young angler in the local shop, and if it's a good, responsible shop.
Or sorry, if you're that bothered, go and meet the person and teach them how to fish.
Absolutely, don't do that because you're breaking a load of laws.
Well, no,
but you can't do that with a young angler. You can't just say, let's meet up.
Well, it depends what it's a kid. If it's a 5-year-old, probably it's not posting on social media. If it's that age, you shouldn't even be on social media.
A kid is anyone under 18.
Is it?
Yeah, by law, yeah. So I disagree with what IB said there. But if you start that kind of engagement between a young angler and their tackle shop, then I think there's a positive to come from that. But Rich is absolutely right. We can't hammer kids for stuff like that. It's counterproductive.
Snack Bro says, yo.
Hey yo, which one of Snack Bro have we got online?
I don't know, but they say I had to delete Facebook because I couldn't deal.
Yeah, I think there's a few people have had that same experience. It can be an absolute minefield, and I know Snagbro in an area where a lot of it is public. And I imagine, I don't know this for certain, but I imagine there was some backlash from the amount of public water that those guys were filming. There is nothing there's nothing stopping them from doing that filming, but a lot of people aren't going to like their spots from being featured on YouTube video.
Scott Bailey makes a very good point, which I agree with. Some of those people who comment on Facebook are armchair anglers who put negative comments on. I think because I would be full of prayers and congratulating whoever caught a good fish. I do think that I came across a lot of people that were posting negative comments and saying a lot of negative stuff. The people that go out and fish once a decade. Yeah. And actually, there is a definite correlation between the amount someone's able to get out of fish at that point. I noticed when the weather was really bad in the winter. Actually, some of the social media issues got really bad because people were frustrated. And unlike you and I, we've had this conversation before, IB and I can talk to each other. If we see a bad photo on Facebook, instead of getting the keyboard out, I'll say, God, did you see a picture of that pike on the concrete? And IB will go, yeah, that's terrible that was. Whereas if you haven't got that, and I imagine most people haven't got this, what we've got. Yeah, we can vent out to each other.
Yeah, whereas for other people, the vent is going to be hitting that keyboard and sending a private message or commenting underneath the photo. So I think it involves a little bit of restraint, doesn't it, to not. And I've got caught up in it. I've posted stuff on social media that I'm not proud of, that's got me in trouble or has upset people. Don't get me wrong, I'm no saint in this. I've got as much trouble as anyone else in the past.
I have been very restrained recently.
You have recently. You've been very good. You're just good. Building up for an absolute horror show.
Oh yes. But saying that, just remember that the stuff that you post, if you constantly are being negative and constantly being picking on someone, or always you see issues instead of a good stuff, and people see what you post, and then people will think, oh, what a negative person and what just a fun killer you are. Like, everyone sees our posts, everything is so public. So just bear that in mind. If you are nice to people, like, I don't know, every single time I see Julie Mole or Craig Palmer or Craig McDonald's or Philippa Haig, every single time I see like people like that, I'm like, these are really nice people that will always say hi, will always
good
positive,
stuff.
never
Yeah.
like there's anything negative with you.
I went through a little period where if someone was particularly negative, I've just kind of
block.
pushed it away now. I want to open up my screen and see great pictures of flies and beautiful fish and great locations. Not particularly someone who's frustrated about not being able to do fishing. It's just not, that's not what I want from
it. So the social media can do some real harm for the more shy or vulnerable. People always want to input the judge. Also, people who ridicule you for a particular method or whatever, for example, fly.
Well, the great example here, I think, is the fly anglers thinking they're better than everyone else, which I'm not gonna deny happens, because it does. You know what? If it's any consolation, for those of you who don't fly fish, if it's any consolation, it even happens between fly anglers.
Using nymphs.
Yeah, there's a lot of heat. There's a lot of heat at the moment on Euro nymphing, isn't there? And I feel like people are putting it down as a technique. Just fish. Just get on and fish. Fish however you want. Do it responsibly. Do it safely. Do it with the safety of the fish in mind, and just get on with it. And if someone thinks that what you're doing is not as good as what they're doing, so what? Who cares? Let's just fish.
Just fish and be happy. Who cares? Craigie says, wannabes everywhere. Some have and gone, but hey ho, we're still going. So just enjoy.
We're still here, Craig.
Literally, and that's a very good point as well. I've seen many people on Facebook, especially, that were very big on one point and then they just disappeared.
They just fall off the face of the earth. Yeah.
Philippa Haig, politics and fishing is terrible. One of the reasons I came away from the comp scene. That's really sad though. Like if that's what it's making people do, it's really sad.
I know Phyllis is definitely less than 25 years old and has already decided that an entire sector of her chosen code isn't for her at that age. What a shame. How many other talented anglers of all codes might we have pushed away by the politics in Facebook groups? What a terrible thing to happen.
Yep. So Alan's saying I'm on 2 Facebook groups. One is only for members of my local club and is a very sensible group. The other is an open group and is really tackled towards anonymous. I feel it's this old competitive secret knowledge side of angling suddenly finding itself with a platform for instant access to other people. People like to think they're experts. Gordon Go saying, I can't wait for you two to get back on the river for some more fishing videos. I think they're great. Thank you very much, Gordon. That's very nice. And if I'm honest, I can't wait to go back fishing as well.
Got a message was sent actually to you, so I haven't actually got the name of the person who sent it, and a pretty weird funky picture of my feet on the photo as well, which is weird. I've got a lot of customs through social media for guiding, but it also exposes me to poaching.
I believe that was a Hampshire Riverkeeper.
Was that Hampshire Riverkeeper? Okay, that's really cool. So yeah, I mean that is a side of social media that's obviously particularly relevant for me. I've never published an advert on paper.
Nope.
I've only ever done advertising by social media. I'm coming into the 5th year of my business now, and other than right now, it's gone relatively well. So yeah, there was an opportunity there not only for people like me to offer out services, guiding flies and stuff like that, but also as a consumer to, it used to be that you could only find a fishing guide in the back of the Trout and Salmon magazine, and you had a little 2-inch square box where they gave you information, and that's all you had. That's all you knew about that fishing guide. Whereas now you can find their Facebook page and you can check them out. You can message them. They might have a YouTube channel, and you can check out and see if you like them. Actually, the YouTube, I call them YouTube bookings because they're people who've come from YouTube and emailed me, are often people saying, I watched your video, I quite like the cut of your jib, I think we'd get on, I'd like to book a day with you. And that's something that just wasn't possible. Before that platform was there, there'd been very few professional anglers who were creating content on video.
So Danny Parkins elaborated on his comments, said that sent premature was struggling to keep consistent material to grow. What was your goal moving forward? 1, 2, 3 a week, and as 2 professionals with different schedules, keeping it together is tough.
Well, okay, we never really had a goal as such, did we? When we started the channel,
Our only goal that we set was to do 1 video a week, and we said to be as consistent as possible. That is the only goal we had.
There was no like, oh, we need to have 100,000 subs in 4 years, because the reality is coming into it, we didn't know anything.
We're gonna do well or bad.
And it probably would have been, I think we've said this before actually, but it probably would have been, if after 4 or 5 vlogs, people in the comment section had been like, well, that was rubbish, or lots of dislikes and stuff like that, don't hit the dislike button, and no one would have subbed, we'd have probably just dropped it. But we didn't get that. It was the opposite. It was very positive.
Very positive and very encouraging as well.
Yeah, we've never really set a target, have we? Other than
the only thing I will say that we constantly keep reminding ourselves now till this day even to do as much as possible to get as many people fishing as possible. Either be that a French leader video, how to catch a grayling or a trout on the nymph for French leadering, or a very cheap nymphing outfit off eBay, or a very cheap little rod, anything like that, a wish reel, anything to make it as accessible as possible for a lot of people.
But yeah, I guess if the difficulty with setting that as a goal is that because there is no tangible achievable, is there? But yeah, it is a goal of ours to try and make fly fishing particularly look a little bit more attainable.
And all the comments that we have received, and we have received quite a few saying, I haven't fished in 20 years and watching your videos made me to go and have a go again. You inspired us to go and try, and that's just like,
yeah, that's really cool.
Makes everything so much worth it.
That's why you do it. Actually, can we use that that's a really nice segue. That's worked beautifully. So point number 3 I've got written down is specifically YouTube, which kind of, I guess, is a different form of social media from, say, Facebook or Instagram, in that it is totally based around making videos and then sharing them, and all live streams, as we're starting to discover now. Quick straw poll in the group chat. How many people in the group chat use YouTube to get instructional content for their fishing? Just very, very quickly. Any more questions coming up?
So let me check. Snack Bro said it's Tom.
Hi Tom, how you doing? I hope you're well, but I've seen that your brethren is putting out some videos. Where's your videos? Up your game, man. You're my favourite anyway.
I always say to Andy that you guys both are so funny, and Andy should learn about the sense of humour.
Yeah, you have a lot funnier channel than we do.
Danny Parkins, are you spontaneous with material or is it pre-planned? Let you give you an idea. This was written about 15 minutes before the video started.
Well, yeah, but I guess what Danny said. So, there's always a plan to go and film, isn't there? So I don't know. Let's take the French leader videos. A lot of planning went into making those, because I wanted to, because that was always going to be a reflection of me as a guide. Is how that came out. So there was a lot of.
And not even that. Like, we had specific days booked in the calendar because we knew that I need to film it and it can't do it on its own. So we have to both be free. The weather has to be all right because it can't be too windy. Like, which river we're gonna have to go. What season is it gonna be at that point? Like.
But then there are other videos where we'll go out and we'll be like, right, what should we do now? We're like, oh, we'll do a challenge. That'll be fun. And just right there and then we'll decide to make a challenge. And as Danny and any of them will appreciate, once you've started that, who knows what the fish are going to do?
Yeah, very true.
You've got no control over that. So I guess the answer to your question is a bit of both, actually.
I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, so Fishing with Ash has just done a super chat for us, which is really, really, really kind of him. Thank you very much. We weren't expecting that.
I don't know, but is there anything to say here? It doesn't say anything.
No, usually there'd be a question with that. So Fishing with Ash, ask us a question really, really quickly to make us feel less guilty about that. Who else have we got going on at the moment?
So a lot of people are saying yes all the time. Yes, I do, and especially your videos. Oh,
thank you very much. That's super kind.
Joe says yes. Danny Parkins says, "Can you do a live guess the lure?"
I'll tell you the story about that later.
Okay. Mark Howell says moi. Dom says yes and reviews. Brendan says yes all the time. Yes, main source. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I use YouTube all the time for fishing tips. Yes, fly casting videos on YouTube. Yes, especially fly tying. Yes. There's a lot of yes.
There's a lot of yes. So that's pretty conclusive then. My second sub point about YouTube, I can't read, and I wrote it. So I'm going to skip to the third one for the moment, which around YouTube is sponsorship. Now the reason I want to bring this up is that obviously it's fairly pertinent to me. I'm always a little bit concerned that we had a particular bias or have a particular bias on certain brands because they supported my business. So the two brands in particular that I'm going to say here are Sierra, who support the fly fishing side of my business, and I'm very grateful for that, and Savage Gear, who up until about a month ago I'd been connected with for 5 years, and I've now kind of moved away from that, which hopefully will open up a few
And
more
Ash now as
opportunities.
well.
Yeah, yeah, I'm now sponsored by Fishing with Ash. But is it something, when you guys are watching YouTube videos, is it something that bothers you? You know, do you know, actually, Tom, it looks from the outside, I'm having a conversation with Snagbro through our phone and this tablet. Tom, it looks like from the outside that your channel has taken a swing towards pure fishing stuff. So Berkeley and Abu Garcia features a lot all of a sudden. And from the outside, it kind of looks like there's a sponsorship deal going on there. Is that something that has been an issue for you? And have people raised it? And for the rest of you in the chat, is that an issue when you're watching a video if you keep seeing the same brand pop up over and over again? Does it start to feel like a sales pitch?
Because I always said, even before we started YouTube channel, that was a big thing for me, was
Yeah.
with you being...
Yeah, it's really, really complicated because I have certain obligations to these companies who have helped me set up my business. I've never wanted to use the YouTube channel as a sales pitch, but at the same time, people ask us for reviews and they want us to talk about kit, and it becomes a little bit complicated.
But at the same time, if we did something and we haven't liked it, we wouldn't be telling people that, oh my god, this is still the best thing. Like,
We
just wouldn't talk about it.
I have to maintain honesty, and there have been times when I've gone out and reviewed alert and gone, ooh, not a massive fan of this, and we just can it.
So a lot of people still saying that yes, they watch YouTube videos. AP, hello AP.
AP.
Yeah. Andy.
Oh, Andy, how you doing, man?
Fishing is just saying just to kind of help support, not much, but still, thank you very much.
Very cool, thank you, Ash.
The Welsh Fly Fisher, I always watch David McPhail videos. That's how I learned to tie flies.
David McPhail makes the best fly tying videos on YouTube. They are brilliant. I've learned so much from David's videos.
I want to ask you a question. You need to answer in your comments below. I'm going to be very bored very soon because my work is going to quiet down a little bit and I'm going to have a bit more spare time on my hands. Should I start my own channel just to how to tie flies, or should I do a segment on our own YouTube video of my journey of learning how to tie flies?
That'd make a great playlist actually on the channel, would be your adventure down fly tying.
I'd be tying flies, drinking gin.
It's a very niche market, that one.
So Greg Palmer is saying use YouTube for information regarding float making, rod restoration. Craig, you make your own brilliant floats. You need to make videos about how to make floats.
We should go and film Craig once this is all over.
How to make the floats.
We'll do that. That'd be cool.
On another note, as a predator angler and fly angler, where's the predator on the fly content? Would love to see some when we can get back out.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to do that too.
Again, we've
tried.
We have tried, yes, and I was the only one that caught that day as well. It's just like,
you did.
I can't help being good.
We're a little bit limited locally in terms of productive venues. We're bang in the middle of all the Midlands trout reservoirs, so you think, oh, brilliant, you know, there's loads of places, but actually a lot of them don't let you fish for the pike, particularly Carsonson, which is just down the road. They don't let you fish for the pike on any method. The kind of upper middle Trent, we could do it on in reasonable conditions. The lower Dove, I think we could do it on in reasonable conditions. The problem we've had is that at the time when we tried to film it, the conditions haven't been very good, and we either haven't done it or just haven't caught anything.
Okay, hold that thought. Mate, if someone has proper pushing products, I will skim the timeline for the fish and turn the video off.
Yeah, which I think is fair enough.
Andy Sparks saying, shame as Savage Gear makes a good rubber landing net. The trout fly fisherman says, nothing wrong with sponsors if you are informative and not just pushing it. Stephen, no problems with sponsors, not really, but it's a case by case. I think sponsorship can allow new competitors a really leg up on occasion. Yep. AP saying, I can relate to the sponsorship stuff as I can been asked a lot of times over the years, but it's hard to promote when it conflicts. I think you need to introduce AP.
Yes. So actually, we've got another really high quality YouTuber, Andy Saunders, Andy Pandy, Fly Time, fantastic channel. Again, one of the best fly tyers in the UK. Very good angler, really cool guy it seems. I'm looking forward to catching up with you and doing some fishing. If you're interested in learning to tie flies, and Andy makes really beautiful crafted flies, like my flies are a bit kind of workman-like, aren't they? The kind of farmer's flies, you know, rough and ready as they work. Andy makes really, really beautiful flies. So if you're interested in learning more about fly tying, you've got a great channel just there. Check that one out.
And he works out a lot in the gym. I keep seeing.
And he's absolutely hench.
Yeah, he's hench. Yeah, good bicep game, Andy.
Buff ting.
Yeah, I would show mine, but I don't want you to feel embarrassed. So first fly fishing, I will watch it. I'm not sure why you're laughing. It had been lovely if you did a tie along. I had loved to see videos of you learning as well. I'm in the same boat. A playlist on this channel.
People want to see you sign flies.
No, it doesn't bother me. Sponsorship and equipment doesn't take away from the basic message. Enjoy fly fishing. Sometimes a 20 rod can be just as effective as a 200-pound rod.
Well, I think you proved that when you caught that big brownie on the Y. There'll be a lot of people who didn't catch fish that big all season.
Yep. Hello from Fashing to Sea. Glad I could make it this time. Oh!
Who's this?
Jareb.
Jareb, how you doing, man? Really, really good to have you here. Hopefully we got the times kind of right this time. Thank you very much for joining all the way from Washington, D.C. How cool is that?
I know, right? Tying pike flies.
If you'd have seen the last pike fly I tied, you'd realise why I haven't shared any videos on that yet.
Scott Bailey says, yes, because sometimes you see the price of things with the name on and people say it's the dog's bollocks, but you can get a cheaper one that does the same job and fraction of the price.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, says new video. Andy is another room explaining the fly via phone. Yeva has to find.
That's a great idea. That is brilliant. Yes, that's rich. This is why we're friends with you.
Genius. Steve Frake says, "Do it and become the fly tying queen."
Be the fly tying queen.
Danny Parkins. Oh, for me and my fishing takes salt water. At the time, my last lure deal just didn't have the gear with usable quality. Promotion of gear and the use was a tough juggle.
Yeah, so it could be difficult, you know, that balance of promoting kit and main content. If you aren't being, if the kind of fishing you're doing doesn't tie in with the kind of products you're being given to do it, that can be hard.
Judy Miles says, will you have your own merch with your fly tying journey ever? Ooh.
You just need a crown. You need the
IB
crown.
I just need the IB crown. That's it. That's all. Tom Cole, Andy, come down to the fence for some pike on a fly in autumn.
Deal. I'll see you there.
London Predator Angler. I talk a lot about the tackle I use. If I like it, I recommend it. I'm not sponsored. Just talking about what I use.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Nothing wrong with that.
I guess the complication is if you're being given kit and then doing reviews on it is, you know, does that create a bias that people are uncomfortable with?
Adam Price. Had plenty of canals around me. Ash and Black Country Pike for great pike content. Pike content?
Yeah, I'm sure all of you will welcome us down here for a day. Yeah, but please bring the gin. There'll be no gin left. You know what she's like.
Honestly, I'm drinking the gin. My best friend Amy, she sent me a bottle of gin in this lockdown for my birthday, and it's the greatest gin I've ever had, so it's delicious. And I'm basically through the whole bottle now. My most popular video at the moment under lockdown is my perch bobber making video.
Yeah, brilliant. That's really cool stuff. I think that's really interesting stuff that it's different and people do engage in it, and it avoids the whole brand thing, doesn't it?
So I'm fishing, stuck some fluff out my coat to a hook before to try and catch roach on it because my bread got wet. Does that make me a fly tie?
That makes you one of the finest fly ties. In fact, I'd like to see a video of that. If you'd like to upload that one, that'd be great.
If anything, we're not sponsored by Fly Tie Company right now. Brendan Shaw says, hey guys, sorry I gotta go now. Another great debate. Look forward to the next one.
Thanks, Brendan. Appreciate it.
Brendan. And Dependent says, we're hoping to get out with you guys in the winter, but it just wasn't to be. Hopefully get out as soon as the shizzle is over with this COVID virus. Biceps are getting smaller, gyms are closed. I know gyms are closed. Do something at home. Get some weights. No excuses. Nick Trotman, you haven't seen mine. You need to send me a picture of your biceps. As dodgy as that sounds. I know. Andy Sparks, I'd like to say that a friend of mine ties impressionist flies, not mega accurate, not Ollie Edwards, but the key catch is always the most of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one thing that we always say. We always have like these really pretty flies and also flies that will just work.
Yeah.
Like they will work. They don't have to, like fish is not going to go, oh my God, there's a red raptor.
Yeah, absolutely,
around. Yeah. Jared says, yes, I really wanted to be part of the live conversation this time around. Glad to see you here too.
Nice to have you, man.
I see how like the people are making comments between themselves now, being glad that they met. Definitely have to come to the river Tave.
Tour. Yeah. So we had a little Insta DM session about this. I think we're going to go and have a little trip down to Wales.
Big pipe club for the class. Let me know patterns. Catch a ton of them buggers on the pattern in northern
Wisconsin and upper Michigan. I assume that is. So yeah, Clouser is a fly pattern. It probably if you were stuck with one fly pattern to catch absolutely anything, you'd probably choose a clouser because it's a little baitfish imitation with dumbbell eyes. It's very, very simple, but everything eats a clouser. Yeah, just like you, everything eats a clouser. I think probably my desert island fly, the old clouser.
So AP says, how poor Andy think your lady has a bicep fetish? No, I have a quad fetish. I have the strongest quad game on the planet, and I'm always gonna show off to Andy, and Andy is poor because of that. I'm gonna be there. Do you want to look at my quad? Do you want to poke my quad? Have you seen my quad?
Such a weirdo.
Done fishing is going. Bye. Done.
Take care, Don. Thank you very much for coming.
Danny Parkin saying, pike on chew and saltwater fly. We should work together at some point.
Yeah, we can do that.
Trout fly fisherman. Now you're used to a live stream. Will you do a live stream on the river? We have done on Facebook some live streaming while fishing on the River Dove, haven't we?
Yeah.
And it was epic because we were catching so many fish until the phone died. Funnily enough, another live stream, another phone died.
Yeah, it's difficult to do this out and about, isn't it? But we could definitely give it a go.
You almost said the river. Oh, yeah, I can't say it again. What is it? The river Tall.
Well, I've always said tall, but clearly I'm wrong.
Yeah. Most of the Welsh words I can't say, to be honest. So Jared saying, that's absolutely right, Andy. I catch big steelhead, big pike, big smallmouth, bass, big brown trout, everything. Loves the class, so you just need to find the right color combination for your area.
Moving along from the kind of YouTube part of social media, and this is kind of the fifth and final point really, which is a little bit it's probably got a little bit less in terms of breadth to it, in terms of stuff. Was apps. Does anyone in the comment section use an app to help them with fishing? I know Orvis have got an app. I know the big one, the most well-known one will be FishBrain, which has become known as Spot Burn, because you essentially grid coordinate exactly where you just caught your fish. I know FishBrain is pretty popular in the States. I know that the Googan squad have pushed it pretty hard and seem to have some kind of tie-in with FishBrain. From what I've seen, it hasn't taken off in the UK, but do any of you guys use any other apps to enhance your fishing? And if so, what are they? And have they been more positive or negative? I'd love to hear about that. I must admit, I don't. Do you?
I use only one fishing app. I can't remember what it's called, but it's for tying knots. It has like every single knot on the planet that you would need. I'm sure it's just called Knot, and it was a paid app, but they did like a 1 week for Christmas free to download. So I downloaded that because I'm not that good with knots, and if I need to do like a different knot than a blood knot, I will need to like a step by step. And it's a very good like literally pictures. But that's the only one that I use.
Yeah. Is there anyone else in here using apps?
I never knew there were any apps. Don't use apps at all. All about reading the water on the day. No apps use.
The Knot app is great. There you go. Yeah. So Adam's used that one. That's cool.
AP Fly Tying River app.
Yeah, brilliant app. Actually, is absolutely right. There is an app that I use, River app. I probably just didn't equate it as being a fishing specific app. But it's absolutely right. It gives you the water levels for basically every river on the planet.
You know what app I have used before? It was about flies. I can't remember what that was called, but it was like a...
Oh, matching the hatch. Yes, I downloaded that. Actually, do you know what? I looked at doing something similar with a little interface where once you found the fly that you want to match, a little interface where you can actually buy it.
Now you're giving your trade secrets
I've just given. Don't steal my idea. That's the only way I'm going to make any money in life. Don't steal my idea. But yeah, I think there might be something in that. Just a little way of people selecting the right fly and buying it straight away.
So now I've tried, but they're not much use. Most need a good signal anyway. Got the Knot app again. Craig Palmer. Yeah, great minds think alike. App for 7 river levels. Yeah. John Owen, no apps. Try Tinder, but no.
Rich, we all know you've been on Grindr, mate.
I don't use apps. Google Earth.
Google Earth's a good shout. Actually, particularly that's Danny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Particularly pertinent for Danny when looking for spots on the coast. I imagine it's probably a pretty good way of finding secret little spots on the coast. Actually, is just scouring Google Earth would be really, really useful. Fair point.
I use the States Department of Natural Resources app.
That's cool. Well, obviously, that's a thing that we haven't got in the UK, but I imagine there's quite a lot of information that you can get from that about access points and boat ramps and all that other stuff that probably isn't relevant over here.
Fishing with Ash says plenty of fish is good. That's how we met. AP Fly Tying is Grinder your type.
I haven't been on Grindr for weeks.
days. Only use it is tied
Tide tables, yeah,
and
again,
solar charts.
see again, because we're not of a coastal persuasion, we wouldn't think about these things, but actually, yeah, an app with the tide tables is ideal.
Yeah. Anything else, or have we covered everything?
Do you know what? We've covered everything that's on our kind of list, and we're pretty much at an hour and a half now, which was where we kind of said we wanted to get to.
I think we're gonna start logging out. Before that, give us some ideas, guys, in the comments or message us privately or whatever, and tell us what the next one you would want us to do.
We want to tackle like big topics, don't we? Like this one tonight, where we can talk, have a real good natter with you guys for a full 90 minutes and talk about all these issues, because it's important stuff. This is social media is massive in fishing.
It is huge. So yeah, but it's definitely been interesting and many good points raised by people as well. It's sad that social media can make some people to completely delete it and quit and just hide from it. It's sad that some people are being forced to leave like competitions.
Yeah, but on the flip side, we've encountered people tonight who have had really positive experiences, who have come back or have learned via social media, or come back to it via social media, or learned something, or maybe caught some fish that they might not have caught without having the kind of social aspect and being able to talk to people or watch people do it.
Absolutely.
So I guess the answer is, it is good and bad. I guess we don't know any more now than we knew 90 minutes ago.
But my overall is always quite positive with social media. I like to have fun, and everyone knows. I think whoever is friends with me on Facebook know that I will occasionally make fun of you. Or...
Yeah, you've got to have fun with it, haven't it? I mean, just like anything else, we have fun while we're fishing, and we kind of share that through our channels. And I think that if everyone else just does that and keeps it all positive and, you know, encouraging and trying to teach people stuff, then I can't see how it can be a bad thing. Where it becomes bad is if people get a bit jealous or bitter or frustrated, or because you're sat in your bedroom on your own or behind a keyboard on your own in your own house, you feel safe saying stuff that maybe you wouldn't say to people's faces. As
That's
I say,
the reality of it,
you and I have done it in the past. We've had it done to us in the past. It's something that, as human beings, I think we will need to get better at, because this isn't going away, is it?
It's not going away. I think it's only going to get more of. So, but I think we're about ready to log off.
Yeah, cool. On that note, then I'm going to sneak behind the camera and get ready, and I'll let you say goodbye to these good people. Guys, thank you very much from me for tuning in. I really appreciate it. It's been nice to have been sat and had a pint with 50 or 60 people. What better way to spend your weekend?
I know, right?
I'll let you do the biz.
Go on then. Thank you very much for watching. Let us know, message us honestly if you have any questions, or if you want to know anything from us, or if you have any requests in the next video or any questions. Start sending them now so we could keep saving them for next weekend. Hopefully it's Friday or Saturday again. And I hope you all keeping safe and sound. Take care, guys.